Hi, I'm Gene Getz, and back in the early 70s, I wrote a book I never planned to write, which was Sharpening the Focus of the Church, which led me to start a church I never planned to start, which was the First Fellowship Bible Church. And then, as a result of becoming involved in church planting, I made a decision I never planned to make, and that is to become a full-time church planting pastor. And I had the privilege of starting around 12 churches here in the Dallas area, and out of that came a number of other churches throughout the United States called the Fellowship Bible Churches. I guess you'd call it a movement. But as I look back on my experience as a pastor, actually nearly 40 years, there are a lot of things I do the same way because it was a great journey. But there are things that I would do differently, and I'd like to talk about that a little bit. Let me just focus on one thing, and I'm sure you've heard this many times, but the fact of the matter is I would establish better priorities in terms of my family, spending time with my family. For example, I remember when we started the church here in the Plano area, which was called Fellowship Bible Church North, and I became the church planting pastor there. It just so happened that it just grew and multiplied very quickly, just like the first fellowship church we started back in 1972. This was about 1982, 10 years later. And we had multiple services going on. And we had 3 services on Sunday, and we had a service on Friday night. And it just so happened that my son, who was in high school, was playing football on Friday nights. And we had this Friday night service. Well, I had to make a decision. Do I get someone to preach for me that night so I can go to the football game, or do I go to do I preach and not go to the football game? I had to make a decision. And frankly, I think I made the wrong decision. Nobody asked me to. The elders never asked me to do this. But I decided that the church was, in essence, more important than my going to those football games. And as I look back on that now, I could have had someone step in, one of my associates, and I would do that differently. Well, it just so happened that my son, after he graduated from high school, went to Baylor University, and he had learned to ski. He had become a good skier over the years and decided he would be a downhill racer. Joined a Colorado ski team, was doing very well. And I thought, here's my opportunity to make up for what I didn't do when he was in high school. So I went to the elders. I asked them, I said, hey, I'd love to go to Colorado for a month, just take off. And they said, go. I said, I want to go up and just be with my son. And so I did. We got a condominium, and my wife and I. And almost every day I was out there running the slopes, not the gates, but I was there with him. And one evening we were talking. He was over at the condo, and I said, Kent and I regret the fact that I missed all those football games. And he said, I just feel like this is an opportunity for me to make up for what I didn't do. And I learned something from my son that night. He looked at me and he said, Dad, you really can't make up for what you didn't do. He said, what I want is for you to just be here now for me. And I thought, wow, what an insight. Basically, he was saying to me, Dad, I don't want you up here just because you're guilty or you're trying to make up for something you didn't do. I just want you to begin right now to be here for me. And in essence, in my heart, I think that's what I really wanted to do. But I learned a real lesson there. And, as I look back, I've had to go to all 3 of my children and ask forgiveness for making decisions that I didn't have to make when I put the ministry before them. Now, that's a delicate balance because everyone knows there are crises where you have to do certain things in terms of deaths and other crisis situations, accidents and so forth. Everyone understands that. But I made decisions that I really didn't have to make, and I could have established better priorities. And if I had it to do over again, I would do that. And I would really like to encourage you in the ministry. As a younger person just getting started in the ministry, if that happens to be your situation, keep in mind that there are very, very important decisions that you're going to have to make. There will be crises. And I'm so thankful for my wife, who always helped me with crises. She would explain to the children, you know, Dad wishes he were here, but he just can't be here. But there were a lot of times when I could have been there, and everyone would have understood. The elders would have understood. My congregation would have understood. I just didn't make the right decisions because I felt I needed to be there, and in that sense, I put the church in front of my family in a way I probably shouldn't have done. So think about that. I know God will give you opportunity for balance in that area. I just wanted to take this opportunity to say, out of my own experience, there are a lot of things that you can do right, and you do them, but there are things that you can do better, and one of them usually is just spend more time with your family.